Okay, so we have spent half an hour talking about individual questions, which was very interesting, and we're not going to reveal it because we want you all to come live to the mentoring sessions, right? But we talked about the hula hoop, we talked about personal space, about boundaries, etc. And now I would like to address the topic of couple sessions and what activities you can easily use for that, how it works, and also where the limitations are. So of those who are here, do you have any experience with that already? Have you tried, like, and couple can also be not like romantic couples or marriages. It could also be two people that are working on the same issue, like, I don't know, mother-daughter, or boss and employee, or something like that, right? Or best friends even that had some kind of issues. So couples is not necessarily just like married couples or romantic couples. Yeah. So when they come, there is usually one person who is more invested than the other, right? So there's one who made the decision, and one who's a little more reluctant. And it's very important that the reluctant person also creates a good connection with the place and with the herd. So it's not only them like, yeah, I'm gonna do whatever they tell me to do, because then they will have a lot of resistance from the horses, and you actually want them to feel safe and kind of let their problem be at the side in the beginning, and also deal with their anxiety or sadness or whatever comes up for them. And it's important that you create that rapport and that connection to both of them, right? So it's and that sometimes means that the person who has contacted you and had more um like interaction with you is a little bit like left to the side. So it's helpful to like give the other person a little more room, more voice, allowing them to express what is going on or why they are here a little longer than the other one, just to create room for them and have them feel heard, right? So you don't want the other person to lead the full interaction. So in the beginning, make sure that both of them are actually with you and want to be there and have an intention of, creating a good outcome for that session. And then, well, always meeting the herd first. And then what I like to do in the beginning is the describe me activity, kind of even um, replacing the story of why are you here. So especially when you have high tension couples, asking them why are you here or what do you want to fix can be explosive, right? Because so you don't want them to attack each other, you don't want them to blame each other. It's much easier if you say like, okay, so you're here because there have been issues in your marriage, in your relationship, in your whatever, and we're here to change that and to find a better way to communicate. Done, right? I do not need to know details, because then they will usually come with details that have nothing to do with the underlying cause and all with the daily frictions. Like, so let's just say today at breakfast I asked for the salt, and then he said, what do you want me to do about that? And it's like, whoa. Right? So it's like minor details that will not contribute to the overall situation, but raise the explosiveness of the situation. So do not let them go into that. With um with difficult situations between two or more people, you have to be quite authoritarian, saying that, this is different. No, thank you. We don't need to hear these details right now. Let me lead the session. Like, just be the one who's gonna calm the waves and tell them what they're supposed to be doing, instead of giving them too much room for voicing their concerns, right? And then if you do the describe me exercise, you have both of them pick a horse that represents the other, right? So now you have met the herd. Here is a halter. I'm going to help you. Just approach the horse that you want me to halter. And you're going to pick a horse that represents your mother, your boss, your partner, the other person, right? Um, Sometimes they will make it more complicated than it is. So there's people who are like, what if we both pick the same horse? I'm like, well, that has never happened before. So if it happens, we'll deal with it. Or what if, like, whatever, like they come up with just to extend the process to make it a little more complicated to let you know that this is all very difficult, right? So you're like, relax, it's going to work out. Just, just do it. Just do it. And you help them halter the horses. That is important because sometimes the friction is so big that the horse that they're picking is going to be like scared of them, right? So if there is a lot of anger or frustration built up around the other person, the horses might actually be reluctant. So you help them, you halter the horses, they stay with that horse, they keep them on a lead line. It could potentially happen that the horses don't want to do that if there's a lot of anger. Then you'd have to work through that before, but it has never happened to me. So, but it could potentially, right? And then you have them, one person starts, describe the horse that they picked for the other person, and you lead them through it with the regular describe me questions, right? So what motivate, like first describe the horse if you want physically, then go into like what are they like, what do they want, what do they need, what motivates them, and what do they avoid or what are they scared of, and then close with a recommendation, just a short phrase that is kind of inspirational or motivational, or and that will help this horse live a better life. And you address it during that exercise always as the horse. So you don't say, now a phrase that will help your husband live a better life, right? So you always refer to the horses because that's what makes it easier. And then they finish, and then you ask the person who is represented by the horse, do you find yourself in this description? Or where do you find yourself? Or did you hear what he or she just said? And that's usually a very moving moment because they will always find themselves in the description, but it's usually much kinder than what they're expecting to hear, right? And there's often parts in the description that have nothing to do with it, right? So like, oh, it has this shiny, sparkling black coat, for example. But I have never had somebody who was like, oh, so they said black coat and I have blonde hair, so that doesn't apply. That doesn't happen. They pick out what they want to hear and what makes sense to them. And you spend a little bit of time in just getting that reflection without going into the details. And then the other person does the same process. And even though they all know where it goes, it still works. So it's not about, okay, so now you know where, the trick. Now we can't do it anymore. It still works. But again, refer to the horse. So then you have them like hold the lead rope, look at the horse. So now describe this horse for us. First, like how is he or she physically? What do you notice? What do you think they are like? And then they're in the horse again and kind of forgetting about the exercise in the previous parts, and it works again, right? So it usually gives you a very good idea of what is going on, but said in a kind way, right? So instead of saying, he's just so stubborn, and if he would just do what I say, which is what they say if you ask them without horses, they would say, oh, this horse has a very strong character and has their own mind and makes their own decisions, which is a positive way of describing the same thing, right? And that lays a very good foundation.
Christina, apologies if you said and I missed this point. Do we tell them that they are describing the other person? They know that it's,
They
otherwise they
pick
would
a
describe
horse.
themselves. That's why
Yes,
I'm asking.
they pick a horse that represents the other
The
person.
other
Then you
person, they
ask them
know
to
it.
describe that. Yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yes. And then you are probably, after that exercise, you're probably at the root of the problem. So then you can summarize it as, okay, so he has a very strong character, and you have issues sometimes bringing your point across, and then she is sometimes really anxious and you feel that you're not getting anywhere, or like whatever it is, right? So you summarize that their struggle, and you set a goal for, so what we would like to do in the next exercise or in the rest of the session is finding a way of dealing with that better, or so that your life is smoother, or that your co-working is more productive, or anything, right? So set a very simple goal that is still general enough for them to like shape it, right? So, and never say, okay, so now we're gonna make, I don't know, your boss less dominant, right? It's always about the two of you working together so that it's just the relationship is better. And then you could do hula hoop, you could do obstacle course, you could do moving the herd together. So if they struggle with, I don't know, the moving parts of the family or the company or something, moving the herd is really good. Like making them move together. Um, it could be, one of them practicing to be more assertive and the other one coaching them, helping them if the struggle is kinder, like more respectful, right? So sometimes you have people who want to support the other person and don't know how to do it without mentoring or mediation. Um, then all the other activities are possible. If you have more than one person in the session, you should always go for an hour and a half or even 2 hours, because usually at like 1 hour you're at the core, at the root of the problem, and then you need more time to solve it. And two people just need more time to talk about things. Yeah. And you cannot do unless you have a lot of experience and in very specific situations, you should not do a constellation with two people as clients, because they will pick different horses for different roles, and having them discuss the, oh, so is this our daughter or is that our daughter, or that it doesn't work. Right.
Mhm.
So the constellation is for one person to lead, and the other could be there to like support. But usually constellation or projecting work is not the best if you have a couple or several people. Yeah. And the horses sometimes show what is going on, even if that's unsaid. And that can be tricky. But I think, like in my opinion, it's really important um to name it in some way. Like, for example, I had a session with the guy, the father contacted me for a family session over their Christmas break with his wife and two young kids. And his intention was to teach the kids discipline. Like, kids need to be disciplined, so the horses, can help in a lot of things. I've heard about corporate coaching, so can we have a session about discipline? And I'm like, yeah, kind of. Let's just see, let's just see what's going on. And during the session, it turned out, and the mother shared, like, privately whispering, that there was an extreme amount of violence in the family, and that she was controlled, that she was not allowed to do anything alone, that she was not allowed to do therapy alone, and that she was just trying to get by. And the horses reflected that. They would not work with the husband. They were like forming circles around her, trying to protect her. The kids were split between him and her and didn't know where to go, and it was a weird session until I understood what was actually going on. And then like I told her that privately it's, the horses are showing what is going on, and I just hope that at some point you will have the strength to do something about it. And the kids being torn and not disciplined is a reflection of what is going on in that family, right? And to him I said, very often the horses will show us a situation that is actually true and going on in the family. So what could be a reason why they are avoiding you and protecting your wife?
Mhm.
And he said, "Oh, I don't know. She's so weak, and I always have to make the decisions, and she just can't do anything." And it was really hard to like get in there, and I couldn't say you are being violent with her, with the kids standing there, but I did say it like in a way that was, appropriate in the session. And I like made examples to the kids that, sometimes in the herd there's also horses that are really really strong and really aggressive, and the others would avoid them. And so, maybe your father is sometimes a little harsh, and like I tried to name it somehow. And those are tricky situations. But you know, I'd rather risk a client coming back in and I would not stay quiet and just like cover it up because he's the one who booked the session and will pay for the session, and like going into their dynamics. But those situations are tricky, and it's often easier to say, oh, like, oh, I would say something, right? Like I would like nail him to the board and tell him what he's doing wrong. It's not that easy.
Mhm.
Um, so those are
So
difficult.
at the end, was he let down with the lack of discipline, or did he feel like that was affirmed? Or did he get anything out of it in that way?
No, that like the discipline
No,
was really not an
not the
issue in
issue.
that.
Okay.
Yes. And it was pretty like with him it was more about let them be kids and let them, and young kids, really young, let them be kids and let them explore their own personality. And your expectations are way too high, and give you their mother some voice and some importance and some authority, and like trying to level him down a little bit.
Hmm.
um but I don't know how it ended. I invited her to, and I told him like, I'm inviting your wife to come to more mentoring sessions, and we can also do them by Zoom, and I will help her to be more assertive with the kids, and right, and like packaging it.
Right.
But they did not come back, so
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. Yeah. Yes,
Hmm.
can happen. Yes. So with couples or with people who show up and there's several and they show a dynamic, you might be in that difficult situation of that they push you into taking a role, right? Into like supporting one or the other. And it's important that you are using their relationship as a client, right? So that really helps me when I have couples. She hired me and he's there because she asked him to be there,
Yeah.
or he has the issue and she just came along. No,
Uh-huh.
my client is their relationship, and I'm like working with both of them to make my client, the relationship, happier.
Right. So be unbiased towards either one of them. Just
Yes,
allow. Uh-huh.
which is hard, but
Yeah.
but it helps me to look at it that way, because
Mhm.
even as one if one of them is abusive, telling them you're abusive and I don't like you is not going to help me. That's not
Mhm.
making my client happier. So I have to find a way of like persuading them into seeing things from a different perspective. And the
Mhm.
horses are really good at that. And asking them, so okay, so like what's going on? Why are all the horses crowding around her or around him and none of them is making contact with you? Why? Right? And then they usually say something like, yeah, I can be a little tough, um or she needs it more, or something like that. And then you have an entry. Hmm.
Yeah, it helps to have the horses there doing
Yes.
what they're doing. It would be,
Yes, very
it
much.
facilitates it.
Yeah, and it's also it's soothing the entire environment. Like it brings the tension down. You can have them brush the horses or touch the horses to also regulate them. Sometimes if there is a lot of tension, the horses will not allow to be touched, then I would use brushes. And I tell them, like just brush the horses and do some physical movement because that will also release tension in the people. Um, Heart math as an entry is helpful, but not always accepted. So that could be difficult to introduce, and they could like make fun of it, and then it gets weird. Yeah. Um, and if the horses are getting really tense or really like aggressive, acting it out, I would even step away from the horses or step out of the paddock and tell them, okay, so this is not what usually happens. This is a really calm herd, but the tension that you're bringing in is causing this, and I'm not having this. So, because sometimes you need to create awareness that they are actually influencing their environment and themselves, of course, with the fire or the tension, the steam that they're bringing in. And the horses again are really good at that, but that could be potentially dangerous for the people because the horses are going wild, and also for the horses. And I'm not having them suffer to make a point to the clients, right?
Mm.
So when that happens, act quickly and tell them, okay, so come with me. I'm going to explain what is going on here, and be the more confident that you are in that situation, the easier it will resolve. If you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, this has never happened before, I don't know what's going on with them. If you have a feeling that the horses are picking up tension, then say that. Yeah. So it's not helpful to like apologize and say like, oh, and and let me try to calm them so that we can work. It's like whatever shows up has something to do with the situation.
So trust that they're always representing something
Yes.
that's there. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. It's challenging to work with high tension couples or groups, but it's also, for me, it's the modality that works efficiently and really fast. So I do couples therapy on Zoom, which is very hard in the office setting, also difficult and draining for me personally. And after that, I feel like I have to renovate the room sometimes. And with the horses, it's so much easier, and you're outside, and like the wind and the nature takes it away. But it's tough, but it's quite rewarding. So if you want to, if some of you, those here or listening later, if you want to go into that topic, it's a great service to your community, because effective fast acting couples or tension therapy is hard to get. It's not usually there. Yeah. hmm Tara's like,
Yeah.
I found something.
Picturing a lot of different scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And also, like after hearing this, I don't think anybody is like super eager to step into that first, but do not start with that, right? Like, don't do your first couple client activity exercise with with a high tension couple, because it's you need to know what you're doing, and you need to be, the more confident you are, the easier it gets. So if you are like not sure about the horses and the activities and what you're doing, then they will eat you alive, right? Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Comments, questions?
We have a small herd. We have 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that, you think we can still
Yeah.
do
Sure.
these? Okay. Okay.
Sure. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Basia, enjoy.
No,
And no,
no,
no
I don't
comments.
have any more questions. No, but it was very insightful. Thank you, Christina.
Thank
Everything
you.
was very good said.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. And you enjoy your hula hoop activity. And I'm excited to hear your documentation of the personal space.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Bye.
Next week.
Well,
Nice
increase.
to meet you.
And see you soon.
Okay,
Bye.
ciao.
Bye.